Self-improvement has become a cope. I think it's become a smokescreen for inaction. I think it's easy to convince yourself you're not ready yet. Oh, just focus on yourself, king. Ignore women for years. But if you're spending your entire life improving yourself but not talking to women, for me, it's almost like working your bollocks off to buy a Lamborghini and then being too scared to drive it. Because with all the guys who I worked with, these are driven, successful guys who have been putting the reps in to become their most fuckable selves. What I found to be true is these guys, they can still feel like the ugly duckling on the inside. It's like no matter how much self-improving they've done, their internal hasn't caught up with their external. And when they approach a woman, they don't see it as an opportunity. They see it as a threat. They see it as a threat to the identity they've worked so hard to build. So why self-improvement is making you anxious to approach women. So this is something that I need to get off my chest. I am of the belief right now, after helping over 200 career-driven men get dates on demand with wife-worthy women, that self-improvement, improving yourself, is making you more anxious around women. Okay, I think so many guys today, they're using self-improvement as a cope, as a delaying mechanism. Take me for example, I started daytime approaching women stone cold sober during the daytime in 2020. Yeah, and back then, I looked like a turnip, I dressed like a moron, I had erectile dysfunction, which meant even if I did get a woman back to my place, my dick didn't work, so I spent the rest of the evening crying into my heart-shaped pillow. Back then, the way that I saw myself was, okay, I am a 3 out of 10 right now, but the only way is up, yeah? Because at some point in my life, I'm gonna have to put myself out there.
How are you doing? Hello, people of the internet and YouTube people. I'm just gonna introduce myself relatively quickly. My name's Christian, 23 years old. I don't have a fucking clue what I'm doing right now. Like, this is relatively new to me, like just going out, approaching girls, like just literally just putting myself out there, man.
Self-improvement has become a cope. I think it's become a smokescreen for inaction. I think it's easy to convince yourself you're not ready yet. Oh, just focus on yourself, king. Ignore women for years. But for me, this is a dangerous position to be. Because I do think as a young man, you need to have experience with women. I think you need to know what it's like to have your heart broken. And I think a lot of young men these days are delaying the inevitable pain, the inevitable heartbreak, because they want to be focusing on themselves first. The best thing that ever happened to me in my life was meeting the girl of my dreams at 18 years old. This was the first girlfriend I ever had in my life. She was the girl I lost my virginity to. When we got to 19 years old, she broke up with me because in that relationship back then, I was too needy. I was too available. I lost myself in that relationship because I was scared of losing that relationship. I hadn't yet learned how to deal with the feminine. So when she left me, I got super depressed. I went through my rock bottom renaissance. I do think that heartbreak is a cheat code for success. I think the first time you get your heart broken, you meet the woman who you think is going to be your happily ever after, the whole thing falls apart. I think in those depths of pain, you really find out who you are as a man. But I think the problem today, especially with young men, is they're not having enough experiences with women. They're not getting into relationships. They're not investing into their social skills, learning how to deal with rejection from women. And I think it's a dangerous position to be. Imagine you're a guy who's got to 38 years old, and imagine you followed all of this manospheric red pill advice. Ignore women. Yeah, ignore women till you're 38. Focus on yourself. Build your value. Build it and they will come. Yeah? But imagine being 38 years old, no experience or limited experience with women, never known what it's like to have your heart broken. All you know is how to do more chin-ups, how to invest into meme coins, how to live a better lifestyle. If you don't know what it's like to be rejected from a woman, if you've never had your heart broken, imagine getting to 38 years old, eventually finding a woman who you think is the one, her leaving you for some other guy who's nowhere near your level. Maybe he was just more fun and made her feel more alive. I think that is a dangerous place to be. If you're this high value guy who has been improving himself, who has been working on himself, who has put the reps in to be that guy, and it feels like, what if your best then still isn't enough? What if you still haven't developed the necessary emotional resilience to manage relationships with the feminine? So I'm not saying don't work on yourself. I'm not saying stop caring. What I am saying is stop obsessing, because there's always going to be new areas to improve, yeah? And I think if we're being completely real, if you look at everything guys are doing today, yeah, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's making money, whether it's building a more interesting lifestyle, I think on a biological level, right, on a biological level, everything guys are doing to improve themselves is to get a woman, is to attract a mate, right, is to replicate their DNA. So I'm not saying don't do these things. I train martial arts 5 times a week. I'm building a personal brand online. I'm traveling the world. But on top of all of this, I'm layering in daytime approach, okay? So if you are a guy, yeah, if you're anything like me, you're anything like the guys who I work with, and you are interested in improving yourself, or as I call it, personal renaissance, right? You're interested in going through these personal renaissance cycles of reinventing yourself through the fires of adversity, and for fuck's sake, don't neglect the only social skill that actually matters, which is learning how to properly deliver the value that you've built to the world. Because this is the final thing I'll leave you with. If all you're doing right now is focusing on improving your value, you're focused on the way that you look, the way that you carry yourself, how you're being perceived by women, all of these things are rather feminine traits, okay? Men today have almost become divas, yeah, with the whole looks maxing movement. Oh, bro, you need to smash your cheekbones, you need to chew on a tennis ball, you need to get your eyebrows threaded. Men have become divas. Looks maxing is making men soft. I would say self-improvement is making men soft, yeah? If you truly want to improve yourself, all these things that you're doing right now, they are designed, you're doing them because you want to attract a mate on a biological level. And if you're spending your entire life improving yourself but not talking to women, for me, it's almost like working your bollocks off to buy a Lamborghini and then being too scared to drive it. Because with all the guys who I worked with, these are driven, successful guys who have been putting the reps in to become their most fuckable selves. What I found to be true is these guys, they can still feel like the ugly duckling on the inside. It's like no matter how much self-improving they've done, their internal hasn't caught up with their external. And when they approach a woman, they don't see it as an opportunity. They see it as a threat. They see it as a threat to the identity they've worked so hard to build. So I'm not saying don't work on yourself. I'm not saying don't improve yourself. What I am saying is whoever you are and whenever you're watching this, start approaching women regardless of your current ability, regardless of your current skill set, even if you don't think you're attractive enough right now, because daytime approach is the most aggressive form of self-development. And if you are somebody and you just feel very anxious to approach women right now, you might know logically you are dateable, but you're up in your head, you're overthinking every move, then there's a video that's just appeared on screen now. And what I would suggest that you do is watch that video in full, because it'll make you less anxious to do those approaches.